this video, you will learn about the new community-driven layer 2 called ZKFair. What does community-driven mean? It is more in regards to tokenomics, so I'll explain that a bit later. But let's get slightly technical firstly. So it is built on Polygon's SDK. That means they're using Polygon's codebase, more specifically Polygon ZK EVM's codebase, and to develop practically ZKFair in itself. They are also using Celestia as data availability layer, and if you want to know more about modular blockchains and Celestia in particular, I have a full video about Celestia. You can check it out, link in the description. And they're also using Lumoz, that's a provider for their decentralized prover network. And decentralized prover network is required for zero-knowledge rollups, and you want them decentralized for most security. If you're not very technical or you just don't really care, one of the key defining features of ZKFair is their gas token, and it is USDC, which is kind of cool and very practical. And I'm surprised that nobody has done it before, actually. However, they do have their own token, ZKF token. And before I dive into the tokenomics of that, let me briefly mention one more technical aspect, that is EVM compatibility. We briefly talked about that in one of the videos where we compared different types of ZK rollups and ZK VMs. The key thing here, it is 100% EVM compatible, meaning that developers don't need to modify their code in order to deploy on ZKF. So whatever they deployed on EVM, they deploy on ZKF as well. So we have the check mark for the EVM compatibility, but another more pressing issue, at least in my opinion, is the interoperability with other rollups. Most rollups and most just layer 2s, they don't really care about this. I feel like it's not talked about enough because, yeah, you just use bridges, but all the hacks and all the bad rep for crypto has mostly come for bridge hacks, which is not very appreciated, and I don't think that's the most workable solution at the moment. So what ZKFair does in this particular part that I found very important is that they use Lumoz native cross rollup communication protocol. Actually, let me say exactly how it's called. I think there is a name for it. Yeah, native cross rollup communication protocol. So the way it works is like an interoperability hub. So all the rollups are connected to it and the layer 1 is connected to it. So that means you can make the calls through this thing from layer 2 to layer 1, from layer 1 to layer 2, and between layer 2s as well. I am not like a developer to exactly understand to what extent this is executable, but the fact that it is atomic and trustless just means it is at the very base level, which means it is as secure as they could make it. And now let's finally go to the tokenomics, because in my opinion, it's also one of the most interesting parts about ZKFair. Practically all 100% tokens are airdropped to the community, and I'm sure everybody loved that. They were released upon mainnet launch, and they were claimed already on January the 11th. Fair launch, no investors, no pre-mining, no anything. Everything is airdropped to the community, and the airdrop is allocated 75 to 25% for different types of airdrops. So the total supply is 10 billion, so you can have 7.5 and 2.5 billion respectively for the two airdrops. And the big one is the gas fee airdrop, and it was basically the event, and let me open another tab how it was. An event that happened in 4 phases. It lasted just 2 days because each phase was 12 hours, and in each phase some amount of tokens was distributed. And the key thing that people had to do was spend as much gas as they possibly could to get an allocation. So you got the allocation of tokens proportionally to how much gas you spent in those 12 hours. And I've never seen this before. I thought it was kind of cool and kind of very engaging. Although, like, even if you want to argue that there were funds involved in this or some big investors, they are still participating on the same community level. If you add up all the total gas spent from every phase, you get 109 million, which is kind of a lot. This is just in USD, and the plan was for distribution for 3 million USDC, so kind of a bit of a discrepancy. And the ZKF team returned all the excess spent for gas to the users who spent it. And there were 10 days for people to claim their portion of the airdrop after this event. And as you can see in the tweet, 98.7% claimed, and the remaining a bit more than 130 million tokens were burned. If you want to learn more, you can go on Twitter to check this out or go to the docs. I'll leave a link in the description. And the second airdrop that we're going to is a 25% of the tokens airdrop to practically just 4 types of people: those who were in the Ordinals community, those who were contributors to the protocol, I would guess that's the team behind, then the Lumoz loyalty points holders. I already explained the role of Lumoz and how big it is in the ZKF, and the users of ZK rollup chains. And those who used in particular Polygon, ZKVM got the most. However, people who used other layer 2s such as Scroll, ZK Sync, ZK Space and Linea also got their stuff. So this is the airdrop for the ZKF token, but you might have a question, why do you even have a token if you're paying gas fees and USDC? And the main use cases, of course, from the token come from staking it. And there are certain aspects and certain perks you get apart from just the stake reward. So interesting part, where the stake reward comes from. First of all, it comes from gas fees. So everything you burn by using the ZKF, so by using the protocol that you are staking in, you get the proportion of the gas fees that are spent during this using of the protocol. So 75% of all the gas fee costs are distributed among stakers in proportion to how much ZKF tokens they are staking. The remaining 25% of the tokens go to DApp developers, and DApp developers, you can check them out in the ecosystems page. You can go ahead and also list your own DApp in this page by go to list your DApps, and you'll have to fill out this form and then you'll get a response from the team. So yeah, there are already quite a few DApps listed, even though they may not just launched. And you can of course go check out the testnets from these DApps. And the key cool perk again is that by staking your tokens, you become eligible for the airdrop from the projects that are building on ZKF. So that's all works very synergistically because you airdrop tokens to users who use a lot of gas and who stake and support the protocol. You give it out to developers to bring more developers in, who will bring more users in to spend even more gas. And also you get the people to use those applications by airdropping tokens for the use of the applications and for participation in the activities and for staking as well. And the last but not the least use case is, of course, community governance. So by going and staking your ZKF tokens, you get the Vote ZKF, which you can use to vote for proposals. And you can also submit your proposal. And there is like a guide on how to submit a proposal. And yeah, they explain why community governance, basically community driven. How can it be community driven if it's not the community who are choosing what is going to be done to the protocol? So yeah, now that all the airdrops have been claimed, what can you do? So yes, you can get some tokens and start staking them to start getting proportions of the rewards from the gas fees, and also start getting airdrops from the projects that are launching. And there are a bunch of projects that are in their ecosystems page that are still in testnet. And you can also check out the testnets because some of them may have incentivized activities. And you should also check out the campaigns page. And the campaigns page, for example, it is still active for SideSwap. And if we open the details, there are some token allocations for just those who hold and stake ZKF tokens, and also those who participate in the different activities from the project itself, also from SideSwap. So there are both kind of perks for those who are just staking the ZKF tokens and those who participate in the SideSwap activities. And there are other campaigns, especially notable ones, I would say, is the BitGet wallet campaign. And there is a direct partnership between ZKFair and BitGet, which is cool to see that the exchanges are also kind of working closely together with ZKF. And there's, I think, Space ID is another notable one that is kind of giving even more credibility to ZKFair. And other ones, to be honest, I'm not very familiar with. If you want to be the first one to learn about the campaigns, I would recommend following the Twitter. They also have Discord and Telegram. And the Twitter, ZKF community, and all the links I'll leave in the description. And yeah, follow those, and in case there is a new campaign, I'm sure they will announce it and you'll be right there for the timeline, because as you can see in some of them, they are quite limited in time frames, so they're like 3-day campaign, for example, in here. And then the third point, that's not really something to do, but something to look forward to, and I would recommend to kind of actually check this out because I think it's important. Firstly, decentralized sequencer and decentralized prover network. Decentralized sequencer is the more important part, at least it's a more urgent issue, I would say. Multiple layer 2s don't really care that they have a centralized sequencer, so I'm glad that they are at least going in the direction of trying to decentralize it. That's their main focus now. And after that is done, they are going to go ahead and use the integration from Lumoz to decentralize their prover network. And speaking of other layer 2s, let's just check out on the L2 bit where does ZKFair stand in terms of total value locked. It is already number 12, which is kind of hilarious to see that it's just gone over Polygon ZKFair, which it is based on. So it's a Validium type rollup, and there are certain security risks that that L2b says they are, but I already talked about those. So they're going to, at least they're planning to decentralize the sequencer, planning to decentralize the prover network, which is, according to the docs, is not as essential as a sequencer, but still good to be there. And one of the risks that L2bit mentions is their reliance on Celestia for data availability. But again, that's just part of the modular blockchain design. So ZKFair has 129 million in total value locked, and the more interesting number is 109% growth. Arbitrum is a bit far ahead, but everything else, it does not seem too far away from it, because Starknet 170, 186 by Immutable X. So it is going far ahead pretty soon already, even though it just launched. Let's also compare the market cap of the token. So I just opened the Arbitrum. Market cap of 2,710,000,000 tokens. So let's check out Optimism, the next one. Well, it is 3,375,000,000, which is a lot again. And if we go into ZKFair, you will see how small it is in comparison to the big guys. It is only 219 million, which is... I know a good sign, a bad sign, whatever it means to you. I'm just here to provide you with the information about these ones, because I'm not no financial advice, obviously. And that's actually all I have for you in this video. And what is ZKF? Long story short, it is a layer 2, community-driven layer 2 with all the tokens airdropped to the community and all the gas fees going to the community as well, which you get a portion of by staking your ZKF tokens. And the main gas token is USDC, which is kind of very practical and very interesting to see how it will work out. And yeah, that's all. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.